Remember enjoying Saturday morning cartoons and savoring the sugary milk at the bottom of your cereal bowl? Well, Kachava's new Cinnamon French Toast all-in-one nutrition shake gives you all the nostalgic feels and benefits. Made with real cinnamon bark for rich, authentic flavor, just 2 scoops provide the complete nutrition your body craves. Take a sip of nostalgia. Go to Kachava.com and use code FITNESS for 15% off your first order. That's Kachava, Kachava.com, code FITNESS.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
Hello and welcome to IMP's AEW Adventures podcast on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Help the network out by leaving us a 5-star review, give a donation directly through Ed Circle, and become one of the amazing community by joining the Social Suplex Discord. Link is in the description. Read the Social Suplex newsletter. Shout out to Trish and Tim as always, and to every person who's contributed so far. Listen to the other top-notch shows here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network, One Nation Radio, Keeping It Strong Style, All Things Elite, Wrestling Art with Chris Things, Trish and Sarah, Tunnel Talk, Sam Brown's AEW Match Guide, and Joe Shing around. My name is Matt Maher, aka Imp, and this is your quick look back at the AEW week that was 30 minutes in Detroit for an amazing crowd. Both shows, Dynamite and Collision. Round of applause for Detroit. Absolutely incredible crowd. In a lovely theatre setting as well. AEW just bringing back that wrestling in the theatre, and it is so beautiful every time. It just feels so right. It's like the way that Detroit responded, like every single wrestler felt like they were over as hell. And the Dynamite's been talked about as possibly AEW's best post-pay-per-view Dynamite. Because sometimes it's been a bit of a, walking wounded situation. Just one of those earlier days where there was a talk about rotation, but you didn't really see it as well implemented as it is now. Plus now AEW's got those established stars and they're able to rotate those established lads with those rising up lads. It feels like they've got a really good balance at the moment. But to have a post pay-per-view show in that context be this good, and a round of applause goes to Detroit because they were so damn loud, so incredible. And AEW with 2 home run promo segments. I mean, we'll get to it. I mean, Collision was great as well with the Fire crowd. It's made this week so easy to watch. And the whole time they're hyping up, oh, by the way, we're going to be in Arena Mexico next week. It's like, oh, yeah, that was one of the most memorable shows last year. So you're watching this hot crowd, and then, but by the way, we're about to go to Mexico. It's like, oh, so I'm guaranteed another hot show next week. Also, I loved how the show was used to frame what's going to be happening with that All-In main event. They're showing the replay for the pay-per-view that's just gone. And as it started, I was just like, oh, replay for pay-per-view. I've watched wrestling shows before. I can probably skip this. But then I started seeing some John Moxley bits. It's like, oh, wait a second, they're intercutting this. And I thought they framed it so incredibly well. Watching that closing angle from Redemption, and the Death Riders are backstage watching it, still relatively cheering Will on. Moxley just being like, come on, get him before he gets you. And he's just so disappointed and annoyed that exactly what he says was going to happen is going to happen. I didn't catch it in the moment, but that ending, the way that Kenny Omega hit the one with Dojo on him, is exactly the same as he did to AJ Styles in New Japan, just to really echo John Moxley's point of people cannot change. And I thought that was such a great little sneaky way just to implement that. And then we went immediately from that into Will Ospreay walking into all of the relevant characters, with him first making enemies of the Death Riders, giving his badge back, then bumping into hangers. The Cowboy very much a man who recognised that look in Will's eye. Ospreay's entire run to All In laid out right before you in swift, succinct fashion. And I thought that was just such a great way to start the show. Then you cut into the hot Detroit crowd. And I'm going to do the same, because my God, this first match, my God. I'm not going to beat around the bush a bit too much. Let's stay on point, talk about Dynamite. Just what an incredibly hot show. Starting with the AEW National Championship, a trios match, Andrade making his first defence against Jack Perry and Nick Wayne. And man, just hearing the reactions for each lad involved in this match was like an immediate jolt of the energy of a great crowd. It's like, yes. Also, popping for every person's entrance, really hyped us there watching the match. Then the match is incredible as well. Anyway, let's get into it. Instead of me just being like, oh, I'm all bubbly excited. Let's actually get through it. And let's play a little sound clip of Andrade El Idolo retaining his title.
Andrade, damn! Bam! Center of the ring!
Yeah, as I was saying, each of them felt so over. The chants of How You Know, especially so loud. And it was my favourite kind of three-way. I was on Sam Brown's AEW match guide, talking about AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, and in there both of us were just saying that there's a very standard way you can do a triple threat, where it's two in the ring, one of you goes down, the third person comes in. Rinse and repeat. It's my least favourite version of a triple threat. It is the easiest one to do if you don't have any consultation time. It's the one I would see all the time when I watch WWE. I see it sometimes in AEW, like it's not just like a WWE thing, but it feels to me like the very standard way of doing a triple threat. And for me, it's the most boring. This version requires a bit of effort because you have to come up with some ideas. But I absolutely love this version of the triple threat, where all three jumping in and flowing, very little one-on-one time. The entire point was trying to get someone one-on-one without interruption. And for me, that's the proof of what you should be doing with a triple threat. For me, you shouldn't be like majority of the time one-on-one. The entire point should be to get it to one-on-one, and the other people are doing everything they can to stop that being so for the others. Because once you've got it one-on-one, there you go, there's your win condition. In a triple threat, you've gotten rid of the chaos. Surely you should take advantage of that. And man, what an incredible opener. An outstanding match for telly. You're damn right that El Idolo sprung out onto both men to set up the pretty lady selfie spot. Take your pants off after the break. Shows just how over Andrade is with all the chants. Just shows how over Andrade is when all of the chants are about him. Detroit amps the hell up after a delicious spring into a head scissors to the outside. Then had the Jungle Man positioned for Nick Wayne's Lope into a destroyer. All three up with super kicks, Andrade grounded both men lariat strong, and one hell of an explosive sequence for Perry, with the spot to have him Nick Wayne varned into Andrade, got twisted into a spinning DDT and then dive after dive after dive, with a moonsault in fourth just to make sure. Andrade finally got Nick Wayne with Perry down outside. Wayne tried, but El Idolo caught him and twisted him up for the DM win. Outstanding match. I've ran through the beats a little bit because I don't like recapping whole flash sequences. I could just say there were flash sequences. They were really exciting. Go watch this match. Giovanni held the mic for the champion after. He's happy because he's screwed MJF, screwed the Don Callis family, and become the national champion. Next, he's coming for their world title. A little chuckle at Tony referring to Mexico as Andrade's hometown. Like it's a whole country, mate. So his hometown of Mexico, not a town. Confirmed that he'll be wrestling in his home country for the #1 spot in the All-In Casino Gauntlet. And we got more names confirmed over this little period. The Continental Cup is something that I'm really enjoying the setup for. Mostly because of the way that Mox is selling the tournament. I mean, we'll get to it when that is talked about. Yes, absolutely outstanding triple threat to open the show. Get out of your way to watch it. Now to the other notes. This is very much a post-pay-per-view AEW world. We've got the fallout of what happened at Redemption, but we're also on that road to All-In. AEW doesn't typically have this kind of like fast lane pay-per-view type thing, so it always feels a little bit weird to have had this where we've got it now, and then we're rattling on to All-In. Speaking of rattling on to All-In, the Brawling Birds giving it all that. Up for a fight on Collision, eyeing the tag team championships now. We move on more swiftly on Collision. The Don Callis family with Renee and a staircase, or if you watch these two shows, you will get familiar with this staircase. Fletcher pulling faces the whole time Kevin Knight was talking. Kyle confident about keeping his title against Speedball in Mexico. Okada came in to totally comfort. Kyle's right, the International Championship will stay in the family. We're just bubbling along to that delicious triple threat with the International Championship. Takeshi a little bit busy in the G1 Climax, but once he's back, so excited for us to ultimately get there. Renee had a sit down in a nice bar with Cope and Christian and the Young Bucks. For the Bucks, it's an honour. It's a dream match they never thought would happen. Adam showed that mutual respect, but his tag partner was just pulling faces the whole time, with having been so nice and pleasant. Christian ended his bit with, "Good to know your wives are coming." Just completely no-sold by Matt. It's a lot about, like, evidently Christian was building up to this. He delivers this, "Oh, I'm glad your wives are going to be there." And then Matt just completely ignores him like he didn't say anything, went on about this being Cope and Christian's second run. That was not sold as comedy in the way it was filmed at all, but for me that was incredible comedic timing from Matt Jackson. He comes in with this dig we're watching him bubbling for, and then Matt Jackson he doesn't even do her anyway. He just goes straight into it. Which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, Cope and Christian in the second run, but the Bucks are still in the middle of building their legacy. And there's your story for two teams that don't currently have the most animosity, but there's your setup. It's Shark Week! So Taz got to pull faces as Excalibur did the ad read with someone in a shark outfit dancing behind them. The corporate synergy. It's always shit. Even if the wrestling show's better, it's still shit. The shark's called Chompy. Does that make it better? Does that suddenly make it better? Like, oh my god, it's Chompy. For me, it's not any better or worse than WWE going, oh my god, it's the General. It doesn't know, it's all shit. It's all rubbish. McFerny backstage at those stairs with the Bang Bang Gang. Ace, the Guns and Juice all directing that anger banger at both the Dogs and the Death Riders. No Jay White for this week for either of these shows. There were a few reports that coming out that he was a bit banged up from the chain match, but it doesn't appear that he's actually injured from it, because my god, imagine coming back from a lengthy injury and then getting immediately injured in a shit match. It seems to be universally accepted as just a bit rubbish. Later in the show, Death Riders outside by a gate. Wheeler and Pac accepted the Bang Bang Gang's offer. Garcia chatted shit on Will Ospreay ahead of their Collision match. Mox not feeling the groups all talking about the philosophies on wrestling. He's now defending his title against a bunch of lads in the Continental Cup, whatever that is, however many opponents that is, and we did get it talked about on Collision. Like, what on earth is this tournament? But I love that the way that Mox was talking about being like, I'm defending it in this cup thing. I don't know what it is, don't know how it works, just know it's going to be a bunch of lads. I don't know anyone who's in it. Because he's Mox is also always up for the fight, always up for the challenge. So he's talking about it in a way where he's totally down for it. He's not complaining about it. He's just like, yep, don't know what's going to happen. I literally don't know the format, don't know anything. And that sentiment kind of carried over into Collision. That sentiment of Mox not really knowing how it's working. He's totally down for whatever's going to end up being. Just finding out in the spot, like, suddenly who's in the tournament. It's like, oh, sweet, that's cool. Like, okay. Then on to the rest of Dynamite. The Don Callis families, Kyle Fletcher, Brian Cage and Jake Doyle versus Bro Dido and Speedball. After a rapid electric trio singles, the show swung into a rapid electric trios tag. Just, my god, the absolute quality of their shows at the moment. Fuck Ice decided which of the Goody team was going to start against Fletcher. Fuck Ice 2, much louder than Fuck Don Callis on this night. Initial good times to have us enter the match all happy. We entered the ad break all booing Kyle and the Muscle Man. Each on the Goody team got their moment after the break. Brody Cannonball, Bandito Dive, Bailey Spin Kick, but then Bailey got singled out for the beating, flowing into giving us that wee preview ahead of the Grand Slam title match next week. Amped up into a charge, Detroit on their feet after Bailey stops a charging Aussie with a roundhouse. Big strong Bandito, press slam on large Jake Doyle. The splash after for the pin got such an impressive roll through and lift by Doyle. The flow of this match just constant, bang, 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 no room to breathe before the next one was flying in. Carl super kicked in to send a message, but the bit ended with Bailey winning out anyway, improvising a spring to Musso outside after Fletcher slid out. Surprise and all Mardy mug on Kyle's face after his number one contender trapped Jake Doyle in a pin. Really fun, absolutely electric. Continued the momentum from the first match as well in a completely different style, but both just frenetic, no time to breathe way of doing the match. If somebody goes down, then someone else is immediately springing in, or you're all dancing together in a multi-person sequence, like, yeah, 2 matches in a row. It's a really fun way to start a wrestling show. And onto the TBS Championship, My World making her first defence against Persephone. My treated as still against the odds given her first defence is against this CMLL Women's Champion. Plenty of time on top of momentum for Persephone as she got increasingly frustrated. A nasty looking landing on the lariat rotation for Maya, landing high on her head. Hikaru Shida, all annoyed, ended up costing the match. Slid Persephone the kendo stick, but Chris Statlander was there to yank it right off her. And that beautiful bridge pin again for Maya's win. Persephone shouting at Stat that it was all her fault, and that set up our match in Mexico. So yes, this gave Maya her first defence, but really the main point of it was to set up Statlander and Persephone having a match next week. Sticking with the women, the new AEW Women's Champion Willow, and our first of 2 absolute slam dunk promo segments. Commentary already donning her as the feel-good champion. You deserve it from the crowd in an explosion for Willow. Signs all over and then a standing applause for her. I found out later that they'd let fans design their own sign for Willow. They all giving them like different pens and things at the arena to design their signs for her, and they seem to like willingly all be up for it, and they go out into the crowd and people got all these signs held up as well. Like, they all wanted a way to show their love for her. For me, that was really smart. The kind of character that Willow is and the amount of organic love she does have, to then give the fans a way to be like, yeah, just show your love for her. I feel like that's a really smart way, because it's not like a corporate kind of show your love for this wrestler in this section. It feels more like they're giving the fans an outlet to show it. It's a different vibe. For Willow, it just feels so organic. And man, she's gotten so good at the genuine, relatable promo. So easy for the if life's hard, don't give up type of promo to sound corny and forced, but not from Willow. Mercedes in full grey fur fashion brought a very different vibe. Made Willow sign the contract there and then, all angry and serious, so Willow did it on the woman's chest. Willow with a reminder that she's the one who ended Mercedes' record-setting TBS title reign. Mercedes just plain annoyed that at every single turn, every time Mercedes has a moment, she's had to go through Willow first. I knew that Mercedes was doing a good job when Detroit started chanting, "Shut the fuck up." Obviously, there's more of a rhythm to it from the American crowd. All the encouragement that Monet needed to just keep talking. When Divine Dominion made the jump, double chokeslam on Willow, but before any further beatings of Brawling Birds made the save. Just an absolute winner of a segment. Willow like the biggest goodie in the world, Mercedes the cocky dickhead acting like the championship is already hers. Everything about it just an absolute winner. It feels like they are on the cusp of making Willow a huge deal in AEW as well. Like, obviously she's a Grand Slam champion, but she's never felt like she was the main featured player. And it's like we're on the edge of that. Mercedes is such a fantastic wrestler that you could easily use this match to propel Willow, or you could use it to set up a huge emotional story for Willow. At the moment, it's like a hero's moment. The dreams come true, and that's what this promo was about. Then reality comes in. But this is wrestling. This is not a George R. R. Martin book. A lot of his stuff is about people having dreams and then reality chopping their head off. Something like that. This is professional wrestling. You can have people talking about their dreams and whatever, then actually deliver it. Give us the feel-good moment. The AEW Continental Championship, Jon Moxley versus Commander. Mox over as hell in Detroit. Like, are you surprised? I mean, at this point, who wasn't treated like a superstar by the Michigans? A hot product, they're all over. Fist control beginnings, rope walk middles, and one tasty rapid flash finish. Commander with his fancy springboard, but Mox got the louder reaction, just chopping the bastard. Mox said nay to the rope walk, just bailed out of there and moved. Someone's listened to Zack Sabre Jr.'s teachings. Just move, dickhead. But he couldn't stop the ad break tope. Got to enter the we're on a break ringside stomp somehow. 10 minutes remained. Call by Justin Roberts as Mox just punched and bit a man in the corner to the tune of You Sick Fuck. Guillotine leg drop like he's RVD sent the crowd into This Is Awesome. But the spot after was the most lovely. Stepping up to spring outside, but Mox slid into the ring, so Commander improvised and sprung back to him with a 450 onto the man. Repeat the spot on Collision. So it's totally beat for beat, but it looks so impressive. Then the Lucha Man got his rope walk float over. Mox just snaps in back in the ring though. Stomp, paradigm shift, choke, and that's all she wrote. Mox has absolutely nailed the flow of these TV title defences. I mean, he's had enough of them. It felt like he'd figured out how he wanted to be presented with his Continental Championship quite early into the reign. It's been this kind of match that really does showcase the person he's up against, but Mox comes out feeling like the badass. This was another one exactly like that. Primed us all nice and ready for the Continental Cup next week. I'll talk about that because AEW talked about it in a bit more detail on Collision, so I'll do the same. But we had more titles. The AEW Trios Championship, the Conglomeration versus the Demand. Bishop Khan with his own ideas. Not down for the dickhead posing during their entrance. The man just pelted it down to brawl with Roddy Strong. Lovely shot staying with Orange Cassidy's shenanigans, then panning to Ricochet diving from the stage over the fans onto all three of the conglomerates. And amazing spot with Khan and the owner beating up Cassidy whilst the man kept his hands in his pockets. Toro just lifted the man up with ease. It looked so funny. Cassidy then tagged out with his head, given he didn't have any hands. Backbreaker Roddy with a different flavour of hot tag brought Kyle in stiff strike style. Top rope interruption back and forth ending with Roddy crashing Khan on down. And a good laugh as Leona's diving headbutt was so late that he entered frame last second before the cut, just diving onto nothing. Sometimes it's good when it goes so wrong, it's just a good little giggle. Big Toro got his large gentleman moment later. Beat up all three goodies, no-sold the orange punch with his strong head, till the goodies got their act together and took him on 3-on-1. Then the Lethal Twist did their baddie jump, smashed a trio belt over Cassidy's head and beat him down. They've been trying to get Ricochet's attention to join his group, and maybe they've finally done it. They're in the background for the promo on Collision later. Brody King for a hello. The crowd were cheering for Motor City, but this was our prior setup Hangman Adam Page appearance, as in the beginning of the show, Hangman Page was one of the people Will Ospreay bumped into. Out with a steel chair, wrapped in barbed wire, buckshot lariat to Jay Lethal. Coming out here for the save, and then saying he's going to team up with Brodido feels exactly like the type of thing that Hangman was talking about in terms of where's he going to fall in the AEW card. It's like, oh man, it feels really weird that Hangman Page isn't there. Is he going to do a little title fall or whatever? No, that's the Cody playbook. Look at how hot AEW is. Look at how stacked their mid-card is with these talents. Hangman Page is going to be dancing with these guys? Yeah. That's like from a pure wrestling fan standpoint rather than somebody who's following the characters invested in that type of standpoint. From just a pure wrestling fan standpoint, yeah, we're going to see him dance with these really talented wrestlers. Of course, I'm down with that. And the final segment of the night, the AEW Men's Champion Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay with their chinwag. Omega didn't get to say anything past at Redemption before Will Ospreay's music hit. And congratulations AEW, both of your big singles match promos were heavy hit successes. Treated Will like a bit of an idiot. In kindergarten, we played show and tell. At Redemption, I showed you how I felt. When I hit the one with Angel on you, I showed you how I felt. I thought you understood, but now I see that angry, bewildered look on your face. Maybe we move on to the tell part. The man didn't take Will's past criticism of you gave up well. Does this look like I gave up? Holding up the title. Will owned his mistake of coming back too soon and too set on revenge, but that loss against Mox has zapped all of his confidence. Also owned up to liking being a Death Rider, understood why they're so protective of AEW, but he doesn't agree with their philosophy. He knows what he's got to do at Wembley. He's going to do it by being the best. He saw Kenny get the chair wrapped around his neck. Will couldn't let the Death Riders do the same to Kenny that they did to him. Kenny fully believed Will considered using the plastic bag. Will adamant that he didn't. And I love this with Will Ospreay's character. Like, the thing he's most guilty of is just being a bit stupid, which feels so Will Ospreay. Just in that moment, he wasn't the smartest man in the world. It did take him a second to go, no, I shouldn't do this. He's guilty of being a numpty, of just being a bit stupid. But I just love the way that Kenny Omega's reading into that. Will amped up something special with Kenny slapping him when he tried giving excuses. Quickly exploded into the end of their friendship. As much as I respect you, you put your hands on me and I'll kick the shit out of you, bruv. Then a really awkward, really worked in football metaphor, like, he wants the ball. well, the 90 minutes are up, extra time's gone, we're in penalties. England have a shit history with penalties, but he's going to be able to pull his trigger. Slightly awkward because he starts with the football thing and then word for word quotes a Jon Moxley promo. It was not something I picked up in the moment. I was just like, why is he ending on a trigger thing? He's talking about football. It didn't entirely 100% work for me. And then I found out afterwards, like, oh, suddenly it does work. Suddenly it's the football part that's awkward, not the trigger part. Because that's the bit that you really do want to put in there. And I don't know how you could do something different down the line, but at the moment, the way that we're being presented this feud feels like it is through Jon Moxley's framing. And either that's the point, he is there as the framing device. Because we see Ospreay quote Jon Moxley, so his teachings have evidently gone in. And the way that we're currently seeing Kenny Omega is the way that Jon Moxley framed him. So I don't know if we're going to see a little shift over the next few weeks. Like a great TV show would start giving the perspectives of the multiple people in the match. This week was Jon Moxley's framing, from the very beginning with him being the way that we saw the replay of Redemption, to this main event here being all the things Moxley talked about, and then we see when Ospreay say his words. So far this has been written so well, where I have got that mini expectation of, oh, are we about to see just different things from each of the three characters involved here? Or just that Moxley framing just being shadowing over it, that's the point, and I'm setting myself up for... It's not really disappointment, because it's kind of a cool idea to be like, oh yeah, I could see the framing from the different characters. Not necessary. The whole point can be that Jon Moxley's framing is around this match. That's more than enough for an interesting build. But yeah, main story for me, Detroit were incredible. Both of the promos absolutely hit. Exactly what we want after the final pay-per-view before the massive stadium show. The momentum is all in their court. Then they've got the Mexico show next week. It was like a guaranteed rollover into week 3 of the build to All In. So far, so good. Maybe I should have saved those words for after I've done the Collision review, but it's going to be similar words to Collision. So let's jump on over to the sound clip from Collision, and you know what? Tony Khan didn't wait to bring out the new signees, so I won't wait to play my clip of them. So let's jump on over to Collision, and a very special duo arriving in AEW finally.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
Yup, didn't wait for later in the show, didn't set up a run-in, just kicked off the show with the newly signed Detroit men. I don't bemoan them giving WWE a go, but that company is what it is. AEW always felt like the place they would actually respect them. When they signed for WWE, because I was still reviewing them at the time, it felt very much like a short-term plaster on a solution that wasn't just going to be fixed by bringing in a few new names and giving them belts. But the second that had played through and that short-term had passed, they were forgotten about, they were nothing, they were left off of pay-per-views, there were shows, their tag scene dwindled. One of the teams in there, DIY, well, Ciampa has been in AEW absolutely killing it. So here comes another duo from that SmackDown tag scene. There's so many of that scene has gone. They put a load of effort into it, that the Wyatt's all gone, Ciampa gone, Machine Gun's gone. Absolutely gutted their tag scene from when I was watching them. But when they brought them in, they were talking about how they really did set the pace for the style of tag team wrestling that you see today. The style that you are seeing and you're enjoying right now, that bar was set by the Guns in TNA. That's why they are so respected. But coming here, rather than being coming up through the indies or TNA, whatever, this is off of a tepid WWE run. Suddenly it feels like, oh, this is the place that's actually going to respect you. And they brought them back in Detroit as well. Arguably most of their characteristics is we are from Detroit. And how nice to hear a crowd go crazy for them. Again, by the time I stopped watching WWE, they were already getting little reactions, a secondary thought in terms of booking. The pair here got to promo immediately, and they played to their hometown crowd. It's good to be home. This is where the best wrestle is becoming AEW's version of, know, it's a club with a lot of history. Motor City is finally All Elite, and that immediately swung us into opening tag fun times. Trios match between the Demand and the Rascals. Our new AEW Trios champion getting their first little dance out. Bold for our Ricochet opening trios. Diving Tope over All Impressive to the You're Still Bold chant. Went to ad break with each one of the Rascals. It's like Oprah, as Paul White put it. You get a dive, and you get a dive. Snap, get your shit in for everyone once we were back. Really liked Myron Reed's twisting neckbreaker to a rope-draped Ricochet. Each lift and swing hit all lovely on beat. Big Bishop and Leona took care of business, singling out Vince to be the one tossed about and just survive the Demand's trio offense. Lifted up onto two strong shoulders, Xavier and Reed back up just in time to stop the dickhead springboard, sending us into a full flow of flying fun, including Reed's leap into a cutter outside, this time a nicer landing onto the pile of lads. Xavier nearly rolled Ricochet up, but when he didn't score the 3, he was in troubled water. The big boy slammed him down, Ricochet got the pin, a first win for our new Trios champions. The actual big note for them came later in the show. Yeah, absolutely fine. For me, this is the type of match that Collision puts on all the time, where I enjoy it, but I'm not like raving about it. This is, for me, this is the bar. This is the Collision bar that you don't want to go below. But it's still a really entertaining match, really fast paced, but ultimately I'm not going to remember it like it's this is the Collision standard. For me, arguably proof that we are spoiled over here watching these shows. This is the standard, but yeah, it is for me. Like, athleticism high, wrestling impressiveness high, investment relatively mediocre to low. I don't particularly care how this match goes. And as this is a post-pay-per-view Collision, get ready for a fuck ton of other notes. First, a nice one. The Conglomeration were backstage with Lexi Nair. They did the LELS Ice Bucket Challenge for Rebel in the ring later in the show. All 3 of them also entered their names into the Continental Cup without telling the others. And later in the show, the 3 sat on chairs in a paddling pool already with special guest bucket pourers, Rhino and the Insane Clown Posse. Like, I'm sorry. So strange that I am saying those names out loud in this context. Like, not just on AEW TV, but doing something really lovely for like a really sucky situation. Rebel's name on the Tron, and it all looked very cold. Like, crowd chanted for Rebel, and it was all very heartwarming. Anyway, those 3 will be in the Continental Cup. Speaking of, it's a knockout. Shivani ran us through just like how cup matches work in our club football. 16 names in a hat, drawn at random each round, single elimination. Winner gets a very FA Cup looking trophy to get their name etched onto, as well as the Continental Championship. This is how our cup matches work over here. We've got the FA Cup where it's every single league, every single division gets put into the FA Cup. As long as you're part of the Football Association, you get entered into this cup, which means, yes, part-timer teams where half of them are builders and postmen can play against the millionaire footballers. It does happen, and sometimes they beat them. Grimsby Town beat Manchester United just this last season. Like, it does happen. But it's also just like this. The reason that can happen is because it is totally random. You put all 16 names into a hat. This is wrestling, so they're not going to do that, but AEW feels strong enough where they kind of could. Like, they know who they want to win at the end. So you can do the other thing football tournaments do, where it's like, well, we know we want these 2, but who they face could be anybody. So we just make sure they're on the opposite sides of the bracket. We do it the draw in that kind of way. And you could do it totally random because AEW have got a strong enough roster, and the way the continental scene works is that anyone really could face anybody. From a booking standpoint, you know, people got to make flights and such. They are doing the draw on Monday, so I'm recording this, unfortunately, a bit too, and I don't have time to watch it and do an insert. I'll have to stay up past midnight just to include that, to watch Tony Khan pull names out of a hat. Are you joking? I'm not staying up for that. So unfortunately, I can't include it. But by the time most of the people listening to this do listen to it, the draw has happened, so you know what it's been, you know the names that have come out, you know how random it actually felt. I'm just kind of saying, you could easily do it with 2 buckets. One as Moxley's in, one as the other person you want to get to the final. But it's like from a booking point of view. Then you do the draw. Because when I say, oh, how random is it actually? You still got to book the wrestlers and tell them, oh, can you get a flight to Dynamite on Wednesday? Like, you're being a bit of a dick if you've got to make them watch this thing on Monday to find out if they need to get a flight over. Like, just from that perspective. Not to break the illusion. Big Nige then announced that he is also entering his name. Better to be a line for a day. Yes, and on Monday it will be the 2 Tonys, Shivani and Khan, making those selections. Backstage, in front of those stairs, it's lit red and yellow tonight. Don't worry, I haven't just put a note in about stairs. Hangers was stood in front of them jabbering on about something. I genuinely forgot about it because then Brodido walked in and they agreed to have a trios title match in Mexico. I was like, oh shit, completely just forgot what Hangman was talking about a second beforehand. Hopefully it's not important. He and Brodido will be having a trios match. Ricochet then responded, accepted the trios title match. The Lethal Swirl were with them too in the background, but then Jay Lethal walked on forward, bagged on Commander ahead of their match later. Lexi Nair introduced us to a quick face-to-face in front of those stairs again. Speedball on her right, Fletcher on her left. left. Both of them believe that they're the best and they'll beat the other. Bayley saying they want Kyle on his own, which amped the Aussie up into delivering a beating. Spinning out into the arena. Speedball won out. Fletcher ducked the spinning heel kick but left his title in the ring for the Canadian to hold it up for a wee pose and to cheer. And finally, Kevin Knight to camera. The Don Callis family is a family of champions. Himself, Hechicero and Okada offered an open challenge for Mexico next week. And during the main event, Giovanni announced in flabbergasted voice that Chris Jericho, Mystico and Darby Allin had answered the call. Like, what a random pairing of men. Like, what do they talk about? What are those three doing when they're sitting in catering? If there's a trio men who are going to sit there, was Jericho definitely like opening his mouth about to speak and then like, no. For me, that's the vibe of these three. Speaking of Chris Jericho, Tommaso Ciampa versus Nick Camarado. A big old plaster on Ciampa's head as they replayed his loss to Jericho. Made quick work of large Nicholas, amped up and annoyed, got Detroit stomping for his running knee. The man's great, just got trapped in the infamous Jericho box. Later in the show, Ciampa backstage on a production box. He wants the national championship, and hooray, swiftly moving on to Andrade and the Casino Gauntlet at All In. Unless Jericho shows up in the Casino Gauntlet, like, oh, god damn it. He's currently got himself away. And it's All In. You know he's going to have a match. Each time so far, Jericho's also brought the dastardly Fozzy. So we'll see. Brawling Birds and Hazuki versus Athena, Billy Starks and Diamante. Well, what a lovely wee surprise seeing this lineup for this match. Giovanni explained that Hayter and Hazuki were in the same faction back in the Sheffield Lassers Stardom days. Like, sure, that was 7 years ago, but that is a good enough excuse to have a fun trios pairing. You don't need to work too hard for this. And any excuse to get Athena wrestling on my television, well, on my AEW laptop screen. I watched this show outside, sat under a parasol, like the internet streaming thing, yeah, it's pretty good, you know. Loud Detroit chants for Hazuki before an actual fun bit of brawling for the Birds. Hazuki and Windsor on the ramp, Hayter stuck with Athena getting suplexed off the steps. Diamante and Windsor was a fun, tough pairing, very brawly clobber. And you have a Stardom woman on your team, you're damn right you're going to stack all three opponents in the corner and get to charging. Brawling Bird Van Wyatt would have won if their opponents didn't have Athena on their team. Then we got Athena and Hazuki in a wee rapid flash. The quality and pace just picked up. A damn beautiful duck to avoid a Hazuki big kick. Athena then swish into a pop-up and thrust kick. Just looked beautiful. Time for tea. Diamante tagged in and got singled out. Two birds, one stone for the win. And then we got our direct build into Mexico next week. Divine Dominion out to beat the Birds up. Tall women's style. Athena took care of Hazuki while Spain and Cross slammed the English women on the stage. And yes, we set up for both Mexico trios times next week and eventually All In for those titles. And we stay with multi-person tag fun. Death Riders versus the Bang Bang Gang. Mox, Claudio, Pac and Utah versus Juice Robinson, the Guns and Ace Austin. And the ALS bucket thing was right before this, so talk about a slight tonal shift going from that to the Death Riders doing their cool red lighting hallway. I wasn't rabid for this when I saw the collision card, but as soon as both teams were out in Detroit and the atmosphere was so fun, I couldn't help myself but be totally up for it. And a nice surprise of big strong Ace squatting both Pac and Utah upon his shoulders. Didn't save him from the Stardom faction corner charges though. AEW's 8-man tags are always such party fun. Detroit on their feet come the closing flows and Austin flop out onto Mox. Robinson with a surprise win, just scoring a quick roll up on Utah. Pac not in quick enough as the two argued. Then in ran the dogs, but Naisha Lele, because out ran Sabian and Shelley equipped with chairs. Hey, another excuse for Detroit to sing Motor City. Shafia made me laugh, just really wanting to fight, like, no, as Mox pulled her leg to get her off the apron. The dogs thought they read distraction, incorrect, as Finley ate a Guns 310 to Yuma, and looking like a complete idiot. But then afterwards, we got a wee stare down between the Guns and, well, the Guns. I was like, oh, damn it, Tony, you've done it. The joke dream pairing of the Guns and the Machine Guns. God damn it. We're thinking of all the different ways I could bring him in. I'm annoyed I didn't think of this. Chris Statlander versus Jobber Lass Aurora Tevez. Like, hey, sometimes I managed to actually write down the name of the jobber. Stat got a wee to camera pop-up during the entrance. Talked about Persephone and the CMLL Women's Championship next week at Grand Slam. Here in Detroit, another loud reaction as she just held Aurora vertical, all big and strong. Saturday Night Fever for the quick win. And Commander versus Jay Lethal. A wee showcase for the rope walking man. No surprise that the Detroit crowd were making great noise for him. Just so innovative on those ropes. Got his rope walk cut off. The crowd expects it, so makes sense his opponents do too. So when there was an opening shortly after, he just popped up and floated over with such a quick spring. Back from break, Lethal got his wee moment, dropping the elbow and showing his annoyance with the ref. Commanders run outside both fun and silly, luring Lethal out so he could springboard 450 onto him like I talked about in the Mox match. Such a fun spot. Rope walked into a shooting star for the win. Shivani called it, for me, a tad over the top. Like, Commander shocks the world. He beat Jay Lethal. He can't believe it. He's going to be in the Casino Gauntlet gauntlet stuff. I was just like, if that's what they were going for, I call that a tad of a misread. Like, ain't no way Commander was the underdog in his own showcase match. This just screams Collision showcase match, especially as we've just watched him in a Continental Championship match at Collision. We've just watched him in a ladder match at Redemption. This man has been featured. This man is climbing up the ranks. Solidly mid-card, but he's higher than Jay Lethal. And Schiavone was really selling it. So for whatever reason, they decided that, no, this is going to be a moment where Commander suddenly gets this huge opportunity. But he's already had big opportunities in the past 2 or 3 weeks. So it just felt really out of place. And then an absolutely solid main event. Will Ospreay versus Daniel Garcia, with Mox on commentary, always a delight. Will in the ring, all amped up, swinging his robes about. And Detroit played ball so well, with Garcia dodging contact to frustrate Will. Mox was praising the idea on commentary, whilst the crowd had their different read, chanting, "Chicken shit." A good laugh when Mox found out McGuinness had entered his name into the Continental Cup, even had to sidebar with Marina Shafir to tell her how awesome he found out. Hey, Marina, Nigel's in the cup. It just really made me laugh. He generally has no idea how this thing works, and I just love that about him. Just a wee distraction for us viewers whilst Garcia stayed on top. Back to focus in the ring for Will's Enziguri and snap back into action. One Ospreay flurry and the crowd are chanting, "This is awesome." At that point I was like, Detroit, there's still 10 minutes left, and this is a Will Ospreay match. It's going to bubble up further. Garcia again playing to just frustrate Ospreay. Successfully made the man mad and got exactly what he asked for. A stiff forearm right in the face. Did a tad bit better luring the Essex man into ground and submission trap times, but each time was another stage to have his amp up into the next thing. Back and forth as Garcia had answer for everything, and that flow of Ospreay escaping and amping up. Cutter, springing cutter, back caught into a sleeper choke, looked to be fading but rolled back and escaped out, swish into a hidden blade. 1, 2, 3, Ospreay victory, gave Garcia a wee banter before celebrating by the barricade. Not by any fans. I wonder why that is. Mark Davies drags him out into the crowd. Ospreay got to leap off the fancy seats balcony, and we got our Don Callis family pre-Mexico beatdown. Davies, chair in hand as Roppongi Vice held the man, Mox being like, well, this is his own problem, I'm out of here. And both showing and Mark telling that Ospreay no longer has anyone that's going to come out and save him. But just like in the match, Ospreay amped up and escaped. Now he had the chair, and he's fancying a street fight in Mexico for his match with Dunkzilla. I really like that, just the way that everything was set up. We had already been primed for Ospreay to amp up and escape stuff, because he's been doing it all match against Garcia. So when he does it here, it feels totally within the realm of character. It doesn't feel overpowered. It doesn't feel like, oh, he's the top guy to babyface, so he's got to get the last word. No, he was doing this the entire main event. Because also part of that framing was Mox saying Will's truly on his death ground now. Seeing the way that Will Ospreay is reacting to that, they are doing such good work with it. A incredible show. Really, really elevated by the Detroit crowd. I definitely enjoyed the matches more because of the crowd. The location was a great pick. Detroit were amazing, to a point where I've seen numerous people boasting to say, give these guys a pay-per-view. When a crowd is this good, it's like, you know what? Give this city a pay-per-view. But yeah, speaking of great crowds, next week it's Arena Mexico, and then there's not that many weeks left to All In. Suddenly we're hurtling towards it. We are absolutely in that final month of hype towards the big stadium show. But all of the stuff that they've set up, I adored the framing for this week. Point of interest is this the framing for the rest of it? It very much felt like Will Ospreay walking through the characters being like, well, this is going to be Will Ospreay's the next few weeks, building up to the show. All really well done. Totally up for whatever's going to happen. Feels like they've really set themselves up to hit a home run of a build to the pay-per-view. You can still muck it up. You can have the plates all set there, then to burn the dinner. It can happen, but still everything feels all right. It feels good. You just got to remember to turn off the hob. To turn it off. All the water's gone from the rice. Don't forget to turn it off. It'll stick. It'll ruin it. Anyway, before I just go off into random tangents to try to keep the analogy going, let's just break it clean. Anyway, I'll be back this time next week to talk about the Mexico show, Grand Slam. That's all the right words, not necessarily in the right order. This week was incredible. Round of applause to the Detroit crowds. I said it at the start, it's just that they are possibly the biggest reason why I enjoyed this week so much. Next week's going to be just as strong, and then we're right into it. So yeah, really good time to be investing in the AEW world. Also, really good time to dive in if you're a new fan. I mean, maybe there's a lot of character stuff where you'll be watching being like, I don't know why I'm meant to care about this. Because we are at a point of multiple months of hype, and this would be an odd time to jump in, but it would be the one in the middle of the hype. Anyway, with that, I say thank you for listening, liking, engaging in any form, any manner. Always appreciated, never take it for granted. I'll be back this time next week for Mexico Times. So with that, I bid you adieu. Adios. Adios.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.